Welcome to Motorhead Garage. Well, you know, if you got a pickup truck and you're using it for hauling, you know, carrying stuff, towing a trailer, towing a camper, you know, one of the things is factory suspension is there to make it soft and ride great, and that's wonderful when it's empty, especially on those waterboard bumps. It'll get you skipping around. But you load it up, and you'll see that suspension doesn't work so well. It needs some help. And we got a product here that I think can help you out. It's Roadmaster Active Suspension. And this is Clyde Shevitz. Clyde, tell me about this product. Now, this has got a little bit different installation than the earlier units, right?
Yes, it certainly has, Sam. What we've done is we've made it a lot easier for installation. The previous kit, what we had is a bracket that you put under the actual hold-down plate here, and a bit of a problem up north, especially where they do a lot of salting the roads, a bit of a difficult job getting the actual nuts undone. This is absolutely straightforward. It comes fully assembled. Whatever you see on this kit here in black is how it comes out of the box. All you do is you take the eye bracket, hook it over the eye of the spring, and the section here, which is the actual connecting bracket, just slips as you see it at the moment. There's one nut, one spacer, and an eye-lock nut, and all you have to do is just tighten that up. Once you've got that in place, it's now fully assembled on the vehicle, and all you then have to do is just crank it up here to get the right dimension or the right measurement of the coil itself. It comes with 2 feeler gauges. And once you've got the right measurement there and the spring opens up, all you do is you set these 2 lock nuts down here, and that's the end of the story. It's absolutely straightforward and simple.
Absolutely. An easy install. It'll make your truck drive and handle good when you're hauling or when you're towing. So first thing we need to do is have my assistant here, Davey, take a measurement. Davey, show us what we're measuring.
Assistant? Assistant, he says? Let me check this out here. See what we got here. We'll measure it here, and it looks like about 36.5 inches. So
okay.
write that down.
I've got it right here, buddy.
I figured.
36.5 inches. So what we need to do is measure the other side and compare the 2 measurements.
Okay, let me go check that out.
All right, here's what the suspension system looks like coming out of the box. You can see it's all assembled. Now I looked in this box, and here we have another one. This looks a little beefy and heavy. What's this for?
That's for heavier duty vehicles, more like 3/4 ton, 1 ton vehicles.
I see.
And people that load the vehicles to the maximum allowable weight that the manufacturers would allow.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is, this is not just for towing. It gives your vehicle stability. Even when it's empty, it makes it corner a lot flatter. But when you got something like a trailer, travel trailer on the back, in a wind situation, the wind starts to move it, it makes the vehicle lean, you start correcting. This takes care of all that.
Absolutely. Makes a big difference.
And high torque motors, you got wheel hop, axle wrap, it's all eliminated. So tell me about these springs right here.
There are 3 different springs in our range. This is our smallest spring. We refer to it as our X spring. This is the middle of the range, which is our XX spring, and this is our triple X spring. The difference between the 3 is the actual diameter of the wire and the tension that's applied to the actual spring. This is made out of 8mm wire. This is 12mm wire. This is 12.5mm wire. So it depends on the actual vehicle itself, and we set it out for the right kit for the right vehicle.
Great. Let's get Davey to install this. I want to see him work.
All right. This is one of the easiest installations I've done. I've installed these before, and this makes it a lot easier. Now, this part right here, we're going to put right over the rear shackle, or rear spring here. So, slide that in, slide it over like so, make sure it's in there. Now, this is the easy part right here. This slides right over your spring here. I'm going to take this bolt out, take the nut off, slide this out. That's going to drop down, and all I'm going to do is put my bolt back in here, put my spacer in, slide my bolt back through. There we go. And all I have to do now is just put the nut back on it and tighten that up. Okay, now once I've got that tight, if you notice here, this separates, right? It straddles the spring. You don't have to worry about it rubbing or anything. It's all set in line. It's all in line all the way up. You got a nice piece right here. Now let me go ahead and I'll tighten this thing up a little bit. Now, this has got a like a nylon block nut on here, so once you tighten it up, you don't have to worry about it coming loose. And then to make the adjustment on here is pretty darn simple, and you do all your adjustments right up here before you set it on the ground. Okay, there we go. Now, what you get with this, in your kit, you get 2 little spacers here. There's a little feeler gauge. This is a 1mm, this is 2mm. We're going to go with the 2mm on this. And what we're talking about here is, take this back here, we're going to pull this spring apart and drop that in there just so it slides in there, and then we have set our adjustment. So let me get started on that. There we go. All right, 2 millimeters. That's the spec on this thing. This is going to give us about 2,000-pound spring right here. All I have to do, that's how easy it is to adjust it. Now the next thing I do is I'll run these stop nuts down. Okay. There we go. And that, my friends, is installed. Sam's got to be working on the other one sometime.
This installation is so simple. Just a couple things you need to pay attention to when you read the instructions. It'll tell you, make sure you keep everything lined up perfectly straight. That's easy to do. We set this down here. And of course we have 5 positions. Dave used the first one. We're gonna take our bolt. By the way, all of this is quality hardware. You've got grade 8, you've got grade 9 nuts. We're gonna put this through, get our sleeve in here, our spacer. Slide this in here. You can see how nice it fits right up against that. We have a nylock nut that's going to go on there that will tighten up. You can see it butts right up against there. That's the important thing. Bolt it up, and then of course we'll go ahead and go through our adjustment. Everything else is assembled. Really makes a nice piece. Make sure you keep this up here. The neat part with the spacer is keeps everything apart so you're not rubbing on the sides of the spring. And then of course we have our little gauge. We'll crank this up until we get this fit in between the coils, and then we've got the preset right where we need it. Almost there. Perfect. That looks pretty darn good. You know, one of the things they stress in this kit all the time, when you start cranking this up to adjust your spring, these 2 jam nuts on this end, they need to be away from the spring. When they're done, you run it down, tighten this one against that, and then tighten them together, and you're in great shape.
I'll tell you what, this is the easiest one I've done so far.
Yeah, well,
very easy.
You don't need a lift. You can do this in your driveway with a jack and a couple of stands for safety. 45 minutes, you got them both on, tightened up, and you're going to greatly improve the handling, the ride. It's flat. Makes a big difference.
It sure does. Now, let's check out what
Okay.
we did here. Let's see what we had. What was the measurement for? 36.5?
Your measurement, yeah.
That's what I got. And guess what I got here? 37.5.
We picked up a full
Picked
inch
up an inch.
with the same weight RV on it. That makes a big difference, especially in your headlight aim. When back of the vehicle goes down, the front comes up, now your headlights are shining to the sky, you're blinding oncoming people, you got to readjust your headlight. This takes care of all that. Really does a great
Well, we
job.
want to thank Clive for stopping by and bringing his Roadmaster suspension here. Really does a nice job.
Roadmaster Active Suspension, the ultimate leaf spring suspension upgrade.